You see the deer, the impact, the kinetic force just sends them flying. Like, that's not funny. It's just, I'm not.
It's not. No. It's not funny, right? So why do I have to intro it?
Because it's your show, Josh. How many times do I have to tell you this? Sorry to get rough with you. Sorry to get gruff with you, if you will. But I'm tired of introing shows, dude.
I have a PhD in getting on your nerves at this point, bro.
No, it's not even that you get on my nerves. It's just, no, never mind. Yeah, it is. I'm fucking around. No, it's just, It's your show, dude. It's your show. You don't actually get on my nerves that much. It's just fun to, I think, when we were talking about this before the show, I think it's part of the dynamic of what people like about it is that we constantly go back and forth. Like, I'm going to tell you a billion times probably that we'll see this episode in 3 weeks when you're done editing it. And that's what people like.
Oh, man. It's life, man. Life. But anyways, returning
got
to
videos that we recorded a month ago still in the vault.
Not a month ago, bro. It was a couple weeks ago, not a month.
It might be 3 weeks now. Might be getting close to that month mark.
It's not 3 weeks. At the very most, I'm taking a week and a half, bro. At the very least, bro.
Well, when's this editing video coming out? You want to talk? You said, Coop, let's talk about editing on the show. What happened to the other editing video? Did you hold it hostage, Josh?
No, bro. I did not hold it hostage, bro. I told you what I was doing last weekend, bro. Everybody was busy.
Yeah, but you know what? For the sake of being funny on this episode, I'm going to pretend I never heard that. How about that, pal?
Oh, okay. All right. You know what? Pal.
How about that, Buster?
Listen here, bucko. All right?
I like the crocodile clap you do. It's like, wait, hold on. You're like, you go back and then it's like,
I like clap to like get back into character. You know
you like reset into the, you're like, what does So Illuminati do? He's like,
I actually didn't know that he did that. Or maybe I did know that.
So Illuminati, shout out to the god.
Is he still like making YouTube videos or has he stopped?
He's beefing with DDG right now.
Oh, why?
Pretty heavily. I don't know. I don't pay attention to really that stuff. That's not my sector of YouTube.
Oh, okay. All right.
Probably over money or something. I don't know. It's like he argues that DDG is like the devil because I love how I was like, I'm not paying attention to it, and then I'm going to run down giving a synopsis of the entire situation. But I think
makes sense.
The main well, this is what I've heard. I haven't really watched any of their beef. What I've heard is that it's over money and how DDG is kind of soulless. That's what So Illuminati is asserting, is that DDG is soulless and does it solely for the money. And DDG came in with the base take and was like, what's wrong with that? I was like, well, it kind of makes sense, actually. You know?
I mean, in my head, like, I don't see anything wrong with that either, but it does. If you like what you're doing, but you're also doing it for the money, I feel like there's a balance there. Mm-hmm. Like, if I like editing, and I'm like, man, I need a quick paycheck, so I get something done quick, but I don't actually get creative with it. I'm not really putting anything into it. It's just I'm trying to get a paycheck. Then maybe that's where he's coming from, as Sue Malati was saying. However, if DDG is like, I'm doing this for a paycheck, but he actually likes what he's doing for the paycheck, and he still puts his, maybe not his soul, but he puts a little effort into making sure that he brings out good content, then I'll see what the problem is.
Well, so it's kind of what we talked about last. Well, this is okay. So I'm gonna sound like a huge hypocrite, but the episode that we filmed yesterday, was that yesterday? Was it?
No, it was
no,
Monday.
it could have been 2 days ago. Yeah,
it was Monday.
Monday, where we talked about a comment that was left. We could maybe get into that a little bit on the show today. A comment that was left on one of our, kind of short reels. I forget, it was like one of the first reels we had made, and we had argued a little bit on camera. It was the first time we really disagreed on something about the moral position that I think we get. And I'll extend this olive branch to you. I don't want to give away too much, obviously, because the video is still in production. It'll probably be out later this week sometime, or maybe even tomorrow or the next day. It depends on how much I can get done with today. we had argued with each other, not argued, but we had kind of had a disagreement about someone's moral position. And I kind of told you, hey, don't automatically assume that your moral position is the end all be all. And I think the more I kind of toil over it in my head, morality is so subjective now. There's certain things that we as a society can agree upon in terms of killing is bad, cheating is bad, all this different type of stuff. Now, cheating is bad. You get some dissenting opinions, especially with the fresh and fit guys. But I think where the subjectivity comes in is how people interpret those things, or even on a more micro level with certain morally gray topics. I just think morality is way too subjective to ever feel like your one opinion is the end all be all, or that you kind of have a moralistic centric view of things. I think that's a very erroneous way of going about things. And I think that's kind of the way Soul Illuminati is approaching this. Because we think as a society, excuse me, that the pursuit of money is automatically soulless or this immoral thing. You see that a lot. We had one of the conversations on one of our first podcasts, I think the first episode of this podcast, where we talked about people getting flown out, or it might have been one of the JCS episodes. We talked about people getting flown out for money. And you would argue that was a little bit more immoral. I just tend to think that if you like money, that's not necessarily, it doesn't make you a bad dude. That doesn't make you a soulless guy. That shouldn't be the only thing, in my personal opinion, depending on my moral code, or I guess according to my moral code, that's not the only thing you should chase. But if that's what you're after, I just don't think that automatically makes you this evil guy. But that's my 2 cents.
And I remember when we were discussing it, and my point being, or where I was coming from, was more of a for lack of a better term, a moral high ground. And when we first had this conversation, and I was speaking from where I stood and my moral sense, and just kind of saying that, like, I would never fly out any woman to just have them here, mess around with them and then send them back home, because to me, you're not gaining anything from that except momentary pleasure, right? But real quick, I just want to challenge that. Then what's wrong with momentary pleasure? And that's kind of what the disagreement I think we're still having, is that momentary pleasure is this thing, especially now with hustle culture, that's looked down upon, right? In small amounts, if I work hard, and this is kind of what I do now, I have a few people that I'm seeing casually. So if we're working hard the entire day, and I say to a girl, hey, do you want to come over to my place later around like 8 or 9? You could hang for a couple hours. We could have some fun. Do we want to maybe watch a couple shows? And then that's that. Would you say that that's immoral? Because that is momentary pleasure. I'm taking time out of my work-filled day to give myself some personal enjoyment. Or would you say that there's a balance to that, I guess is what I want to ask. Okay, I think from where I stand looking at that, I can see why you would say that there is a balance there. And it's not that I don't see the balance and how, like, it was all consensual and everything. And, you actually came over, everything went fine, and you took a break from your work day. I guess where I'm coming more from is how, it affects like, the more that you do it, the more that you start to not want to do it anymore, And I've seen that with many people who I'm close with. I've seen that. I don't want to say I've seen that with you yet, but we did have a conversation about it where you were kind of moving away from the mindset of just having what people deem meaningless sex, right? And instead, well, you want to say something?
Yeah, well, I want you to finish your point because I'll push back on a couple of things, but let me let you finish your point.
All right. Yeah, you would what some people deem meaningless sex, and just instead trying to work more on yourself and allow yourself to be in the right position to where you can meet somebody who you can have a better connection with, and I guess add more meaning to that sexual lifestyle. I think for me, while I've engaged in what people deem as meaningless sex and just I haven't enjoyed every experience that I've left, I think that where I stand very clearly is I would much rather just be in a relationship with somebody before anything of sex even comes up. I don't want to share that side of myself with somebody who I had just met. I don't want to share that side of myself with somebody who we are simply in a talking phase. I would much rather get into a relationship with somebody before any of that happens, you know, and then we'll continue on from there. I don't like giving that part of myself to people before a commitment has been made, because I feel like I would be sharing something with somebody, or them sharing something with me that is not needed to be shared at that moment, right? And that kind of goes back to my belief system, but that's primarily where I stand on that. I just don't like, for me at least, I don't like sharing that in those experiences with somebody who could potentially be temporary in my life. And
I have a couple of questions.
Like I said, I have done that in the past. You know, I've had experiences, so I can't sit here and say that I'm perfect. I've never done that, but as I've had those experiences, I've kind of come back to where I'm talking to you right now. If that makes sense.
Yes, I want to ask a couple of questions. Mm-hmm. One, you say I don't want to show that side of me too early. I want to know, first off, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to ask the first part of this question first, and I'll ask that part of that question second. So I'll grant you that we did have that conversation where I said, I think I'm having too much meaningless sex where I'm chasing some sort of an ego trip type of thing, and I'm constantly having to prove to myself that I can, and I'm just being very blatantly honest for the people listening, because I think that's what they would want, you know, constantly proving to myself that I can please a woman or whatever it is. You know, that I'm validated, right? Constantly chasing validation. My first question would be to you though, is that immoral? Because we had a conversation, and the parameters for the conversation was not, is this moral? The parameters for the conversation, that I remember it, was, does this work for me? Is it going to be conducive to my life? So I don't think that we approach that from a morality standpoint. And I guess I have two actual really questions after that is, do you view this from a morality type of perspective? Can you take the morality out of this? And three, what about showing that side of yourself to a partner so early in a relationship troubles you so much? Because I view it as almost a different level of personal. It's a very personal thing. Now, I think where you would come at it, and again, you could feel free to state your perspective and let me know if I'm mischaracterizing your position here. You would kind of look at it as, if I'm showing my part of myself, or this part of myself specifically, to someone, and we've just started talking, that there's something morally wrong with that, or that there's something. That's the thing. I guess I just don't understand why you are against it in a way. Like why you're so. Yeah, that's my whole thing. And then also the third thing is again, why. Just why? There's still so many questions, but I want to know, because for me, it's kind of, and this is what I wanted to say, for me, I view it from the lens of, I'm I've got a high drive. I'm not going to say, what the guys listening to this know what I'm talking about, like a high sex drive.
You know what they.
You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
You know.
And so for me, it's not a thing of showing too much myself off the bat. I've always been a very open person, like I'm talking about it on this podcast here, with everything in my life, with my downsides, with my upsides, with my troubles. I mean, Josh, I've talked to people, I've talked to you about very personal things that I think a lot of other people would keep quiet or wouldn't espouse to other people. And to me, sex is the same way. I understand it's a close, and again, it's a very, very intimate thing, but I personally don't have a problem with showing that side of myself or indulging in that side of someone else early on, where I think it could become, and again, not a bad thing in terms of morality wise, but maybe not the smartest thing in the world, is if you get into a relationship and you focus much more on the sexual side before getting to know the person, because then that could lead to all different types of trouble down the road, where you don't know what that person's personality is like. You could absolutely despise that person. You could get annoyed by them. And then you've just had sex with them and you have to hang out with them. And then it sucks. So sometimes I'll grant you that you can rush into things, but I don't think that that's immoral. I just want to see why you think it's bad. And can you answer that question? I'm pushing you a little bit more this podcast in a very friendly way. I'm not trying to expose you or anything, but I find it very interesting when you say these things, because I don't know where what the backbone of why you think it's bad, where that's coming from.
Okay. And
I yield the mic to you, sir.
Oh, thanks, bro. Appreciate you, bro. All right. So I think where we ended off this conversation on the last time we talked about it is that I came to the conclusion that I guess from a morality standpoint, like it's kind of hard to state why it's bad. I can only really state why it's bad based on what I've experienced, and then there comes I. So it's a lot of me and what I feel. But
is that morally bad?
That's what I'm saying.
But this begs the question. We have to be very careful with what we say here. Is it morally bad? Because I know the things that have happened to you, and they're terrible. But does that make that thing morally bad, or is that a bad outcome that happened to you where certain immoral things happened? So does that make the act itself immoral, or is it the fact that you just got a couple of bad cases? You know, because I've had my fair share of bad experiences, but I've also had very good experiences that have stemmed from having a strictly sexual relationship. I've known some of my best friends. I went to Italy with one of my friends that I lost my virginity to. We had a pretty concurrent relationship about 8 months when she was in the States, and I still consider her a very good friend to this day, even if we didn't do anything sexual. So what I'm trying to see is, because you had these bad things happen to you, is that why you feel like it's immoral? And if that's the question that we're talking about, then perhaps there's more digging to be done.
Mm-hmm. For me, or for what I've experienced or what I've seen, is a lot of times the moment that you add in the sexual things and stuff of that nature, it kind of speeds up the relationship, and now you guys might be discussing more things that you would have been discussing if you guys just kind of kept things at a natural, steady grow, and you guys spend time getting to know each other. And now you don't have the questions anymore about, if I should be or whatnot. I feel like you kind of leave that out in the open if you jump straight into doing sexual acts and you've only known the person for a little bit. What's up?
Is that still morally bad, or could that just be considered a little bit stupid sometimes? And also, if you're pursuing the type of relationship that I'm pursuing, which is not anything where I want to... There's one person that I've met up with a few times that I haven't done anything sexual with just because there hasn't been the opening there, but I do really value her time. And listen, I can talk to all the people that I can have. I'm also a guy that I will grant you this point, I do like to have conversation and be able to converse with the people that I have sexual relations with. But I guess what you're framing it through, because I know you're a guy that likes to be in a relationship rather than kind of sleep around. I think you're framing it through the lens that everyone automatically, if they're going to have sex with someone, wants to pursue. Like with the people that I have sexual stuff with now, I'm not looking to them for more than just temporary pleasure for both sides. And morally, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's a fair exchange. I get pleasure, she gets pleasure, and we hang out afterwards. And it's a stress reliever.
How do you feel about? Have you ever heard that, like, when you share that part of yourself with somebody, that you might take a little bit of them with you? Have you ever heard that before?
No, but to that, and that's a very interesting idea that we could kind of talk about. I like. Let's go down that kind of rabbit hole. Let's go down that thought process. If you take a little bit of everyone with you, I'd argue that's one of the healthiest things you can do in life, to have a very holistic experience. Because we view, and I was also doing a lot of thinking about this in just the past week and even some of this week. What's the best way to have a life? What's the best way to live a really nice life? I think or not a nice life, but a virtuistic life, like a life that helps other people out and allows you to live to the maximum capacity that you can live. I'd argue that one of the tenets or one of the pillars of that is having a well-rounded worldview, right? So I'll never forget, and I'll say this, it's just crazy. I had hooked up with this particular woman 2 or 3 times. Very nice. Our conversations had always been dope. We went on a date the first time, didn't do anything, and then we had kind of fucked around after that. And it was after we had sex the 4th time where she came over, we were hanging out, and she just casually told me she was a drug runner. Casually. I was just like, what? She was like, she goes, I got a delivery I got to do later. I was like, oh, you delivering for DoorDash or like Uber Eats? Like, what are we talking about here?
And she's like, no, I got.
Basically, she was like, no, yeah, I just run drugs. I run, it ran really elementary level stuff. So nothing hard, weed, Adderall, I think a little bit of Coke. And it was very interesting. It was very interesting in that, I had, to your point, kind of shared a vulnerable part of my life with this person, that they were so, because you're right, it is kind of a conduit. Sex is a conduit because it is so, that sounds like condiment. It's such a vulnerable experience that you're sharing with someone that you're right. You take something with you. Like, am I ever going to forget that she told that to me? No. And I have other partners that I've learned a lot about just after the conversations we've had after sex, but I don't think that's a bad thing. And I don't know if that's what you were saying, or I don't know if that's what you were asserting, but I don't think that's a bad thing at all. In fact, I think the more experience you have, the better. And with every experience that I've had sexually with someone, I've learned something either about myself or about them. And I've taken, if not something from them, I've taken something away about myself. Like, even the fact that we had that conversation should be proof enough. The conversation that you referenced earlier in the call, where I was doing a lot of deep introspective thinking about why I felt the need to be so validated from women on that front. That's something that I brought away from myself. So I don't know if you were arguing that it was immoral, but that's just my thought on that. What's yours?
I'll share another story with you on that. So as you know, I had a relationship with somebody before graduating. She was a pretty good person from what I knew of her, but the relationship kind of sped and moved pretty fast. Mm-hmm. And I remember kind of questioning how we were getting to certain areas, and I wasn't stopping anything. I was just kind of going with the flow. And I remember it didn't feel the greatest. Like, I just felt like there was something off and I didn't know what it was. So, eventually, like, I had some conversations with her, I said some prayers over it, and eventually I ended things. And then that's when I started to see everything that I didn't see from beforehand. That's when I started to see that she really shouldn't be in any relationships with anybody at that moment, because there's a lot of self-growing that she has to do herself, and there's a lot of things that she has to move away from herself. But I didn't see that before when we had gotten into the relationship, when we were doing anything. I kind of just gone with the flow and just experienced, kind of taking what was being given to me, and then afterwards tried to do the cleanup and try to talk with her and try to make things work and maybe try to help. But at that point, I wasn't able to do that, And then I dealt with some things afterwards where it just kind of just affected me for a little bit on it. Not even just like the fact that I was upset that I kind of hurt her a little bit, but it just felt like whatever pieces of whatever she was dealing with, she had given me. And I felt like I was working through that for, maybe a couple weeks after everything had ended. But again, this all kind of comes back down to personal experience. So my personal experiences would lead me to believe that I don't think that people should be having sex before they've actually gotten to know the person. But your personal experiences will tell you that at the end of the day, it's a worldview, and that's how you see it, right? You're kind of just experiencing things and you're getting new knowledge. And if you pick up something from somebody that's good, you pick that up and you move on. And if it's bad, and you leave that where it is and you keep pushing. I just think that it's better to just avoid the process altogether of not picking up anything bad and just do your homework on the person, get to know the person before you open yourself up to that. But that doesn't necessarily answer the is it necessarily immoral question.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that was going to be my next burning question. Because I agree with you. Like, obviously bad things can happen as a byproduct. I almost had kind of my confidence took a hit for a little bit, because I had some experiences that necessarily didn't go my way. It was all consensual, but it just wasn't like the sexual chemistry wasn't there. So I agree that bad byproducts can happen. But what I'm trying to figure out is that, are you looking at it from a logical standpoint, using morality, kind of, what would be the other, morality, and then, I guess just how it would serve an everyday person? Are you weighing the pros and the cons? Or do you not, and again, this is not me confronting you, but do you not know why it's bad? And are you going just off of, because it's easy, like a lot of things that shape us, that form us, inform our opinions. And, without going too much into it, because I know you wouldn't want me to, you've had some bad experiences, dude, which happens to every single guy. That's part of the reason why a lot of guys, I feel like, in America these days, are very disenfranchised from women. Now, I'm not saying you're some incel in a basement, dude. You still do well with women. Women are still interested in you. You know how to talk to women. In fact, you're around women most of the time. And you can...
Oh, my gosh.
Not in that way, but I'm just saying you can socialize, but you know how to socialize with a woman. You're not this, like, weird, griper, just like, fucking, dude, women suck, bro. But I just want to make sure, dude, for your sake, that you don't ever, and let's just expand the conversation past sex, you don't ever write something off because you've had one bad experience. I feel like it's much easier to just say, okay, this bad thing happened to me, therefore this thing is bad. But to take a helicopter look at the situation and really, and we've had conversations like this before, take a helicopter look at the situation and really break it down logically, morally, even factor into the emotional aspect, because I think that's something that really logical people miss out on a lot, and come to the best, most optimal outcome for yourself moving forward. So, for instance, you would say, I had these bad things happen to me, but I understand that because, just because something bad happened to me, that doesn't necessarily mean that if I were to enter into a casual relationship again, that would be the case. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm gonna let producer Balloons into the show because he wanted to come. He's about 30 minutes late, so we're gonna get him up in here.
No way, Balloons Beyond? Is here. Beyond. Balloons, bro, you've made it.
Yeah, he's gonna. We'll bring him in a second. He wanted me to send the email to his whatchamacallit. Well, yeah, the email to his email basically. But it's very interesting, dude, because I enjoy having these conversations a lot because it also challenges the way I view things. Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of the basis for what I believe and what I think comes from my belief system. I am a Christian myself, so that's how a lot of times that's how I think and that's how I process these things, right? So I try to live my life as closely as I can in my walk with the Lord as I'm doing, but I try not to like judge people, and sometimes like it's like you're human and things like kind of happen, and I don't intend to come off like I'm being a judgeful person because I'm not trying to, I like to say that I have love for everybody, and Coop, I would like if you feel otherwise, if you feel like I've been somebody who is very judgmental and just comes across like that, then
no,
my fault. But I try my hardest to be somebody who is very open to everybody, somebody who you can come and talk to, right? So a lot of the ways how I live my life, I share those with people, right? For example, like I said, I don't think that it should be that we meet somebody and then we have sex, right? Like people talking about how they've known somebody for like a hangout at a bar and then you go home and things happen, right? I don't think that that's okay, right? And I don't think that that's okay for, because under God, I wouldn't be proud of myself doing that, and I don't think that that's something that people should be doing in general. But why do I think people should be doing that? Because there's so many other things that you're not even worried about. When you meet somebody in a bar and you just have sex with them, you're not thinking about what they could be carrying or just whatever stuff they have dealing with when you go home.
Well, let's be clear, that's not immoral, that's just a risk that you take.
That's not immoral, that's just a risk that you take, yes. I agree with you. All right, because you cut me off before we finished the whole immoral thing. If we're going back to the moral, it's cool. So jumping back to the immoral thing, if we discuss if it's inherently moral or immoral, I guess that is up to the person and the individual and what they deem as moral for themselves. Because as you said at the very beginning of this podcast, morality can be very subjective. Yeah. Subjective. Morality can be very subjective. right? I choose to live my life a certain way because of my belief system and because of how I want people to see me. And I believe that I have a personality that people like. And I believe that there's a lot of people around me who look up to me. And I feel like that's important. So I try to live my life based on my moral sense, the moral sense that was given to me by my parents. And as I've gotten older, it's been more solidified in my walk with the Lord. So that's how I try to live my life, right? But to answer the question about if it's morally bad, at this moment in time, I can't say why it would be morally bad, you know? So it's kind of like you said, it's subjective to everybody's morality, you know? So morally for me, it would be bad because I wouldn't want to do that with somebody. But morally for you, it might not be bad because you feel like you're gaining more knowledge about the world, you know?
Just a couple of things that I want to engage with from what you said. I think experience is super duper important. So when we talk about, you say, you know, morality is subjective. That's actually the other part that I wanted to kind of tackle in a second. I think experience is super duper important in founding your morals or how you view the world, right? You can't realistically have a set of viewpoints you can have a set of viewpoints. I don't think anyone's going to say you can't. But I think to be fully informed upon those viewpoints, you have to go out. That's why I had a set of Mormons come up to my house the other day. And I told you about that when I was at the house. I'll have a conversation with those Mormons just because that's a different perspective. That's a different set of morals. That's a different even religion than the one I'm accustomed to. I'm Jewish. That's why they call me the Jewish jawline. Of course, the soundboard god, right?
You really have to plug.
That's what they call me, dude. I can't control it. The bar mitzvah blitzer, the caffeine poppy.
All right. You got it. Okay, sorry, but that is just the plug.
They would call Nigel the Italian stallion, the Choach and Crocher Consentry, of course, Donald Pump, Swoley Mammoth, and they would call you Josh. We got to get you a nickname, Josh, by the way, dude. Well, it's your show now, so we don't have to do nicknames. But anyways, I digress.
I'm Josh the boss, bro.
Josh the boss. So,
yo, you're a bully, bro.
I know. It's not even a bad nickname. It's just like,
it's a producer name, bro. Yeah, go ahead.
It is a producer name. But here's my thing. Is
Balloons
that I think,
in chat, bro.
Oh, by the way, producer Balloon's in here.
Yeah.
Call Josh Hanson. There he is. Josh is a fucking cutie patootie, dude. Don't let that guy, like that guy.
All right.
We did the video will be coming out where we flamed the shit out of Kyle from Oregon or something.
We definitely did not flame him, but you know.
No, we engaged with him intellectually.
Intellectual. I like that. We
gave him intellectual sauce. No, I think Josh is you're a very conventionally handsome dude, Josh. I think.
Hey man, thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
And I think I definitely think you know how to engage with women better than that guy, because that's the guy that's like calling people not attractive enough to do porn online. That's a channel that has like 20 subscribers. He got so butthurt. Anyways,
you're not making it on OnlyFans, bro. You're not, dude. He was like, get off of YouTube, bro. Just stop it. You know, you're just not.
Well, listen, I'm not calling the kid ugly, but I mean, we checked out his profile. He's definitely not making it himself. Hey, I wouldn't pay to watch him.
I personally, I'm not watching anybody's OnlyFans. But if he decides to go make an OnlyFans and he's successful, good for him. You know,
I'd low key be interested to see if he was actually because you know the way he was talking. He thinks that he can put it down. I think Josh. I think you need if he has a girlfriend. I think you need to fly her out.
All right, bro. Calm down. I'm not gonna Jason Love his girl, bro.
If you Jason Love his girl, I'll run him with the fade.
No,
I'll
bro.
find him for you. Anyways, but we. So I think just getting back to what I wanted to engage with what you said. I think experience is super duper important. Now I'm not saying that you haven't had a ton of experience, but I will say that. I guess in terms of having casual sex, I'm not trying to say like I fuck more than you or I'm cooler than you or anything.
Nah, bro, it's cool. Say it, bro. Say it.
I fuck way more than you, Josh. No, I'm kidding.
And that's all right, bro.
I've had a surplus of experience, not a surplus, but in this, I'd say in this summer in particular, I've had an uptick in certain experiences like that. You know, we both don't partake in drinking, so I'm not going to morally judge someone that drinks a lot because I haven't put myself in that scenario. That's why I think just as you go along in life, having experience is the background or the backbone for so many different things, right? Your morals, your belief system, which kind of go hand in hand, how you learn, how you see the world, how you experience things. Experience is just so important. That's why so many of these guys that watch the red pill, the blue pill, like all these like really, really extreme people on both sides, they're all just like locked away in their basements. And they really haven't critically engaged with the other side or anyone in real life. That's why there's a thing called touching grass. That's what gets thrown around a lot of them, is that a lot of these people do need to legitimately touch grass. So I would say for that, I might call you out here a little bit. And again, it's all out of love because I love you as a brother. I just think you haven't critically engaged in your mind with why you think it is immoral. And that's fine because a lot of people have their viewpoints and their backgrounds. And B, I think, and I'm not saying you have to do this, Josh, but I'm saying you're not going to be the guy that's going to go into that area because that's just not something you want to do. And then again, that's fine. So I would say just try to check to see if you have any of these biases that you can't fill in with experience. Maybe talk to more people that have had experiences like this. That's why I think these conversations for both of us are super duper, because you're kind of the opposite of me in that respect, in that I haven't had a ton of long-term relationships, or I haven't facilitated a bunch of super duper close relationships with women yet. Right. So I wouldn't judge you morally based, and I'm not saying you're judging me, but I wouldn't come to you and be like, well, I think this is bad because of that. I would rather just hear your opinion on why morally it's better to get into a long-term relationship. And then two, what did I want to say? It's experience. And I'll think of what I want to say. It's like, you go. I
think it's okay. How do I put this? I don't think it's morally better to get into a relationship. I think morally it's better to just be on the ground on your. I don't even know if I could say that. I think it's just better to be working things out on your own and doing things. Just let me finish. Let me wrap this up because I know what I'm going to say. I think it's better to just take things by and do things by yourself. And when the time comes for a relationship or something like that, and you're able to facilitate at that time, then you're able to facilitate at that time rather than doing these things with people that is or having these moments with people that could be, I guess, better for you and better for them at a later time when you guys are in higher standings with each other. But to your point, I think that is based off of a lot of experiences that I've had. That's based off a lot of experiences that I've had. And I think that the mindset of, it's all consensual, like you're getting something out of it and you're getting something out of it. You guys are coming together and doing something. I don't think it's morally bad. Because at the end of the day, everybody involved in it knows what it is, and you guys came together and you guys decided, you know what, here's what we're gonna do. Where I think it becomes morally bad is if you are doing it for a reason other than just the moment. Like you're doing it and you're looking at the girl as just like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I only care about fucking with you and then tossing you out to the streets or whatnot. I feel like morally that's a problem, because you're not treasuring the experiences that you're able to have with this person. I feel like that's a problem. Do you disagree with that?
And I don't disagree with that, but here's the thing. Here's the difference that I think that we need to be talking about is having the sex in that case would not be the immoral part. The immoral part, and we've talked about this, I feel like we've said this a bajillion times, or I've said this a bajillion times on this podcast. We had a conversation on one of our other, I think it was maybe the first podcast ever that we did together, that the deception aspect of that is what makes it immoral. So not the casual sex part.
It's not the casual sex part.
But you're bringing it to a more granular level, which is fine. But the casual sex itself is not what makes that what I and you would consider to be an immoral action. You know, and I think what I remember what I wanted to say before, and I don't know if this necessarily ties in, but I do want to get this point off regardless, is that morality a lot of times these days, with how subjective I believe it is, it's hard to kind of call someone moral or immoral in some senses, especially because, listen, we got people saying that like Andrew Tate's a moral guy, right? Some people might say, I absolutely despise Andrew Tate. Some people might say, I think Andrew Tate's the second coming of Jesus Christ, and this guy's the best man. But what I'd argue would be a better system, and I've just kind of been playing around with this idea in my head, so it's not completely formulated, but it's just something that I've kind of been toiling with, is whether or not someone follows their own. So you could kind of, for you, Josh, the reason I think we have this conversation is because I want to get an idea for where your moral brackets are. And I kind of have a really good idea because we've been friends for what, like over a decade? No, not a decade. Probably like 4 years now? 5 years? Something like that?
5 years. Yeah, it's
5 years.
5 years. 5 years.
So I have an idea morally.
We almost there.
Yeah. So I have an idea, a really good idea actually, morally, of what makes you tick. And you have a good idea morally of what makes me tick. And I think both of us would call each other stand-up guys. Why? Because it's how strictly, and this is just, again, what I'm thinking, I think we need to judge people on how moral they are about how strictly they follow their own set of morals. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. If someone thinks that killing someone is morally okay, obviously that's something to look into where it's like, okay, that's immoral. So there's certain things, as I said at the beginning of the show, killing, sex trafficking, cheating, there does get a gray area, but how much does someone follow what they believe to be right could be a much more interesting, or in some cases, a stand-in or a better way to judge someone's morality rather than just saying, oh, this person's immoral because they believe this, or this person's immoral because they believe that. I like to kind of take it a step further. But again, there's definitely exceptions to the rule, and so that's why I say I could very well be wrong about this, but I think it's interesting to engage with the content of an idea like that.
I agree with you. And it's through this conversation where I can't say anything to like disagree or like come against like the immoral and moral things. So I think that it does come down to like the subjective person and their moral standing and where they believe is right or wrong and what is necessarily right or wrong. And I think that based on what I just said to you in terms of when you look a little bit deeper, and if you're just doing it just to get a quip and you don't care about the other person, and it's and the other person actually cares, like I feel like that's when you start to get into like the moralness of it, and whether it's immoral or moral. But I feel like if everybody involved is just kind of agrees and is just like, hey, yeah, we're gonna do this, then that would be where I would differ, because I wouldn't do that and I wouldn't go tell people to do that. But that doesn't necessarily make it morally or immorally wrong, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And you know what? Just thinking about what I was saying with the killing part, another interesting example to kind of illustrate my point is soldiers, right? Soldiers kill. So on the face, if we were to kind of use the argument that so many people use, it's like, okay, well, a soldier is an immoral person for killing, for taking another life. But taking it a step further, why does the soldier kill? The soldier might kill because he kind of he's played enough Call of Duty. Like some of the kids that I went to high school with just enrolled because they like playing Call of Duty. So there's that simplistic part of it where it's like, okay, you might just enjoy inflicting pain. There's like a weird thing. But some people might say, well, I'm doing this for my country to protect freedom. Does their intention govern morality? Or is it the actions that govern morality? And this is not anything new that I'm proposing. This has been a philosophical debate for years now. But do you judge someone, again, based off of their moral code? Or do you judge them, based off of how strictly they follow that code? So let's just say that soldier that we used in the idea. The soldier says, all right, well, I'm going out to Afghanistan, wherever, to protect my country. But the soldier goes into a village of people, and let's just say some of the villagers are getting rowdy, out of line, and like spitting at him, but there's not a present threat or danger to the soldier's health, and he guns them down, right? That to me is where he becomes immoral, because he's doing more than what he was set out to do. Then the moral parameters change. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Very interesting. And it's funny that like you bring that up, because I know soldiers, they always, I can't speak for every soldier, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who are soldiers out there who wonder or question the morality of what they're doing a lot of the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's part of like what ROTC recruiters do is you can have this conversation. They prey off of the patrioticness or the patriotism of a lot of high schoolers that feel very strongly about their country, right? Those are usually the people they kind of go after. They want people that are going to want to defend this country, that want to feel like they're doing a service to their country. And they take those kids and they fight in largely, I think a lot of the wars, I mean, there's been, one war where it's like World War II. You could probably make a pretty good argument for that being, I'm not a historian, so maybe I shouldn't even talk about this, but I feel like most wars, at the end of the day, what is it, over oil? Is it over territory? So that's how they get people in. They buy people into wars. Yeah, let's not even debate how much of wars is right in happening, but that's how they get people to fight in wars. They prey off of they use what that person believes to be right, and kind of galvanizes that.
I don't have anything to disagree with that on, so.
I feel like I've just been dropping bars recently.
That's the second time you've said that on this podcast.
I know, dude. I'm going crazy. What else do we have to talk about, dude? Let's talk about something not heavy hitting.
You know what's funny? We did not intro the show.
No, I thought we did.
No,
we not?
We did not. You said, all right, Josh, you're leading the show today.
Yeah.
And then you press record, and then I joked at you, and I was like, yo, why you got to make me lead? And then we laughed about it, and then jumped right into the heavy topic.
Sometimes it does happen. You want to intro the show now?
47 minutes in?
Yeah, dude, do it. Dude, that's for the meme. Go.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Jake and Josh show. Wait, are we both, would we both be considered hosts? Or are we like, am I like host?
You run point on this show, so you'd be considered a host, and I'd be considered your co-host.
All right, so you're here with both your hosts, Joshua Dakota and Jacob Cooperman. And of course, number one producer in the world, Balloons. Love this guy, man.
Dude,
great,
Balloons,
great.
Pull up a compilation of deers getting hit by F1 cars.
Wait, why would you tell them to do that? Why would you?
The power is nauseating. I love it. Balloons will look up anything. I love when Balloons looked up Pornhub the last episode. I know that's how he's ride or die for anything. I hope he actually, can you look at, because those videos are genuinely hilarious. Do you ever see the one where the deer like goes up off the? I hope the deer's okay, but like there's a F1 car coming through, and the deer just like floop and just goes up into the trees. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh, the poor deer.
Yeah, it's not something you should laugh at, but I don't know. It's like weirdly those morbid things that you just have to. That's how I deal with it sometimes.
See, I
think Balloons is going rogue. He's not looking it up.
He said how many deers enter an F1 track.
How many deers enter an F1 track? Enough that there's a compilation. But it might just be, you can look up like deers getting hit by trucks. No, actually, we shouldn't do that.
Let's just not look up. You're trying to get yourself.
This is the video. Wait, look.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Look at this.
Bro, I don't want to laugh at that, but like, how did the deer move like that? Like it doesn't even look real.
Dude, the Balloons is just making it funnier, dude. I don't know how he knows how to. Oh my god, where does he go? I mean, he's dead for sure. Like, there's no way, right?
Nah, bro. I trust and believe my brother deer survived, bro. I killed his like late grandson the other day.
What?
Unfortunately, yeah. You knew this, Balloons. Bro. I got into a car accident Thanksgiving last year with my car.
You hit a deer? Do you kill it?
The deer hit me.
Oh, okay. But he died? Or she?
Yeah, the deer unfortunately, after jumping into my headlight, did not make it. There was like, and his other friends dipped him, and he was trying to make it across the street. He did not make it across the street, unfortunately, and he ended up dying right then and there.
Did you make it Go ahead.
I said I wanted to be so mad at the deer, and I was, but I was also watching it die, so it was just damn.
Yeah, I see in that situation, I feel like, I mean, obviously not the fact that, I just want to qualify this. It's not the fact that a deer is dying that's funny. It's just the way that he flies off the hood of the car, which is crazy. Like, it's like a Gmod ragdoll.
The Balloons is absolutely right. In an attempt to lighten up the mood, we now talk about a dead deer. You're absolutely right. We're doing
we
great.
Talk about it's not the dead deer. That's we talk about a deer that looks like he got hit with the gigantic dude in Skyrim, where it's like the guy just hits you with a hammer, you just go flying up in the air on a glitch. That's exactly what that looks like. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
deer,
crazy.
I don't understand how that deer flew like that. That had to be edited because it does not make sense to me. It does not make sense to me how that deer flew like that at all.
Yeah, I remember me and my buddy used to look those videos up in high school. We would just be giggling like a couple of psychopaths
of deers getting hit by vehicles.
No, just that one video. Like, no, obviously the other ones are just sad. Like when you see the deer, the car like tries to stop, and then it's a dash cam video, and you see the deer, the impact, the kinetic force just sends them flying. Like, that's not funny. It's just. I'm not.
It's not. No. It's not funny, right? Yo. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's just
they used to warn me about you in school, bro. They said watch out for the people watching deer gets hit videos in the lunchroom, bro.
Fuck. Oh my god. No, it just, that particular video is very funny. It's just like the way the deer just goes up into the trees. It's yeah, I don't know how to describe it in a way that doesn't sound like I'm an absolute. But like, I'm not. See, that's the thing. We talked about the pivot. We talked about the guy that's like doing pranks. He's an actual psychopath. Like he did that shit in real time, and he thought that was funny.
Right.
Like if I was in that F1 car, I wouldn't be laughing.
You'd be very concerned.
I'd be like, what the fuck? Whoa! I'd be very confused at first. Could you imagine?
That's the other thing. The F1 car just kept going. Like, he didn't even stop. Bro, it has to be edited, bro. I'm jacking it, bro. It has to be an edited video. Because that man, he literally hit the deer. The deer went into the trees and he was just like, what?
What do you do what would you do if you were in that F1 car, Josh?
The same thing I did with my car. I'm stopping the car and being pissed off at the deer. But I'm also going to be like, how the heck did that deer fly into the air?
You got pissed off at the deer, so you held it around the neck and you were like, go to sleep.
Nah, bro, I would give it the respect of
That's
at least
crazy.
watch. Trying to figure out if it survived.
Base balloons.
Balloons says that he's got to win the race, bro. He'd keep going. He's racing against the clock, bro. He doesn't have time.
Can you pull back up that video? It did look like there was a lot of structural damage to the car. That's kind of what made it so crazy, is that the head of the car, the what do you call it? Why do I forget the name of the hood of the car was almost like a ramp, you know? And then the deer just goes up into the trees and it doesn't come back down. That's the other mystifying part of that video. Where did the deer go?
The deer is never to be seen again, bro.
Just so crazy. Well, automatically that's not death though, I feel like, right? It depends on how fast the F1 car is going. I want to see that video one more time for the one time.
Did you see how that deer flew into the air, bro?
Well, it's a good chance that he probably died when he hit the ground.
That deer is done, bro. They packed that man up. And then kept going.
Stop, Josh. Don't make me laugh. All right, ready? Here we go. Here we go, Josh. Look. Okay. Yo, Balloons is crazy for the play-by-play. He had the Sports Center instant replay.
Yo, the deer like flipped. like the deer like flipped. Like you can see its like hind legs coming from around it. What? What?
All right, so he's right here, and that's where the car.
Balloon said it looks like plastic at times. Man, this is really like cracking you up, huh, Coop?
He really, I mean, it does look kind of look edited. Does he come back down? No, he doesn't.
Bro, and the guy just keeps going like nothing happened.
I'm crying at he hits a deer.
If you listen, like the beat of whatever is playing, like the moment that the deer goes into the trees, it's like a like it's you know.
Yeah,
like
that driver hit the the Victory Royale.
He had nobody else to fight, bro. Here, listen. It's like it gave the deer an outro, bro.
It's not, the more I watch it, the more sad it gets. But one more time, run it back for the one time.
Wow, you're insane, bro. You're wildin'. Balloons, I'm getting a little worried about who I chose to do a podcast with.
It kind of looks plastic at times. Can you imagine just like being the guy that's cleaning that course and you look up and there's just a deer in the tree like, bro, let me down, bro. He went up so quick. How car? That's the other question I have about this. How fast was the car going? That is insane. And he's just unfazed.
That's what I'm saying, bro. It has to be an edited video, bro. There's no other way.
Small ass windshield. That windshield isn't protecting anything.
Man, what a pod today, man. We came in.
Crazy.
We didn't even enter the pod. Aren't F1 cars designed to break more than? Yes, actually, they are. F1 cars are designed more.
Can you look up like the worst F1 crashes, Balloons?
Oh my gosh, bro!
Because those aren't funny, but I just want to illustrate a point. Because those are like actually, because you can see how the cars break up on impact, and then we'll end off the pod there. What a goated producer. Yeah, this has been a roller coaster of a pod.
It's been very interesting, bro. Did not expect it to get where it is today, but here we are.
That's the beauty of a pod, though. You know what I mean? You never expect it to get to where it is.
Never.
And then it just happens.
Never at all.
So, wait, Josh, I want to follow up on the Tropica incident of 87 Chronicles. Are we gonna go? No, I'm serious. Are we ever gonna go back to that place? Because we talked a little bit about it, how we missed out on the opportunity to have it on video. Can we go back? Would you be willing to do that if we go back and
film me actually talking to this woman so that she can say to me no in live?
Stop thinking she'll say no. Stop. You're an attractive guy, Josh.
Listen, bro. It's
You
not
have
that
a
I
shot.
think I'm ugly, bro. It's not that I think I'm ugly, bro. It's just,
And you were getting along with her.
Do I really want to spend the gas money to go to Tropical and film myself?
We film something at the house. You come over as usual, and then we will film the preamble to that motherfucker. We will take the camera, and we're gonna drive over to Tropica, and you're gonna go in that building, and you are gonna ask for that woman's phone number, because I'll be damned if I got disrespected, sunned in front of a restaurant of people for you not to go and at least try to get that girl's number. I was a W wingman.
Bro, we can't just leave it where it is, bro. Like, it's all right.
We can't. I was going to say can, but we could. But what do the people want to see? Pop Tropica has been our best video yet. People want to see this, Josh. It's Tropica. Here's the worst F1.
Pop Tropica.
Here's the worst F1 crashes of all time.
Oh man, I'm very excited. Oh my gosh, I was 10.
That's not actually that bad. Oh.
I'll be so mad. See, he is mad.
Yeah, that's always a big... Wait, can you pause real quick, Balloons? That's always a big point of contention with a lot of these drivers, because I'm not really big into F1, but I do know that a lot of times when guys crash into each other, there's always a big, because it is some guys will take a more aggressive line with the way that they drive, and then crashes just naturally happen, and that's always a big point of contention. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, of course, bro. If you crash in a car that I'm driving, and then you took me out of a race that could have won me millions, I'd be sick too.
Yeah. Number 2, Damon Hill and Eddie Irvine, Portugal, 1994. That wasn't even that, but dude, these are pretty mid. I'm not gonna lie. Like I would definitely survive all these. Let me not say that. I'm just memeing,
I'd be very concerned if the car I'm driving just flipped over.
I've seen some bad ones though. What was the one? Hold on. Whoa.
What?
Wait.
What?
Where did that car? Oh, was it coming out of the pit? Wait, let me see the crash I'm trying to find. Let me see. F1 crash. Give me a moment. Let me look this up. It is the Alonso and Gutierrez crash from the Australian Grand Prix. Can you look that up?
Balloons said that he has a list. It's just from
I'm asking if you want. Oh no, you're good, dude. Here, just this is one. The one crash that I'm thinking about is.
He could also play it and just mute the audio.
That's true. Oh, that's true too. All right, yeah. You know what? Why not, Balloons? You could just play it and mute the audio. That's okay. It's all right. And then we'll get on out of here off of a high note of watching F1 crashes.
Yeah, it's been a very dark pod today.
Has it? No, I think we debated the morality of a lot of different things, but that doesn't make any things inherently dark.
It's dark. It's been a dark pod today.
It ended dark.
No, very dark.
Don't try to morally grandstand, Josh.
Hey, no, bro. I'm not.
Because I know if we were off camera, dude, you would have been giggling at that video. You even giggled at it a little bit.
No, bro. No, bro. No, I had a real time response to that. It was funny, but then I was also just very confused as to how that deer flew like that. Like, it did not look real.
He really flew. That's the only funny part of that video for me, is just how far up in the trees he went. So this is the one that I'm talking about, whereas like realistically, I don't even know how I would survive. I don't know how this guy survived. This one's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
When they show it on the replay, it's really bad. That guy kind of got the I don't know all the drivers, but that's the other car right there.
Oh,
and he just casually gets out of the car like nothing happened. What a Chad.
Oh my gosh. How is he alive?
I don't know.
What? Yeah, he's right.
Literally, like nothing
he's
happened.
Alive. Good thing for real.
Crazy.
Good thing for real.
All right, with that, do you want to head off the pod?
So, heading off the pod.
You edit out the point where you clap. It's just like the full version of the crash. You'd be like, all right.
My God. Imagine. Anyways, beyond. Very nice pod today. We got to have another deep conversation where Coop and I didn't inherently disagree, but didn't necessarily agree on everything. I think that's very good. Shows that even though we, for the most part, do agree on most things, we don't agree on everything, and I think our viewers might like to see that. So, thank you for being somebody who keeps me on my toes, who keeps me what's the term? Keeps me open to different ideas and different possibilities. And, while I have my beliefs, I'm always open to hearing other people's points of views. So thank you for being somebody who shares those with me and making sure that I'm being my best person. So appreciate you, Coop.
I mean, likewise, dude, you do the same for me. I don't think people are going to get this impression for the podcast, but I don't want to make it seem like I'm just saying that you are this fucking idiot that doesn't understand why, he has objections to things. But I'm just trying to get you to ask more questions, as I do all the time. And again, maybe that's like a me thing where I'm like, oh yeah, I ask more questions than Josh, therefore I should be the authority. But I don't know. I think it's a very healthy thing to ask a lot of questions.
No, believe it or not, I do ask questions. I just, when it came to the morality thing, then I had to separate myself from it. And then based on more of the conversation that we had, I was able to, give you a more concrete answer at the end of the pod. But yes. Anyways, thank you everybody for watching. This has been the Jake and Josh Show. This is episode 5.
No. I thought it was 3. Wait, hold on. Let me check the audio RSS feed.
It might be 5.
3.
It might be 3.
Mm-hmm.
The editing.
The last one was revisiting Adam 22.
No, this is 5. This is 4. This is 4. What? This is 4.
What?
This is 4. This is 4 because
no, dude,
the one
but
that
this what?
Are you gonna go? Or are you gonna let me? Okay, this is 4 because the third one is the one that is supposed to release this week. The one where you and I talked about editing. Because remember,
I thought that was a video that we were releasing on the channel.
I asked you. I said, "Do you want this to be a video or a podcast?" And you said a pod.
When?
It's funny. I probably could find the clip. I have it saved somewhere. I literally asked you, and I was like, "Yo, should that be a video or a podcast?" And you said a pod. I was like, "Oh, okay." But
I thought you were talking about the last episode that we recorded of this show, where balloons came on for the first time.
Nah, it's all right, man. It's not that deep. I'll just release it as a video as opposed to a podcast, and then I will make this 3.
3, yeah.
Okay, no worries.
Take us out.
Okay, so oh, my fault. Put balloons. Balloons says he's what makes this a podcast. To be honest, my fault, brother. Sorry.
He's not wrong. Yeah, he produces it.
He does handle his business while he's here, and we appreciate.
We gotta get balloons to do some compilations soon. I want to see what he comes up with.
I'm very scared of those compilations.
That's it. We do say a lot of flagrant stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah, you definitely more than me.
No. We're equal.
You're good, balloons. You're good, balloons. Don't worry. He said as a joke, he hopes people doesn't take him too seriously. It's all good, bro.
No, everyone take him at face value for that.
They can't, bro. They can't see his face.
Yeah, who are they gonna get mad at?
Us.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in for this has been the show, podcast episode 3. What are we gonna name this? Who knows, man? I'll figure it out while we're editing it.
Jake and Josh. That's the only
Jake
name.
and Josh. That's all that matters, right? This has been Josh Ricoto.
And Jacob Cooperman.
And of course our main guy Balloons, And have a great day, everyone. We'll see you at the next function.
See the next function. I'm crying. Bye, guys.